1889. Aberdeen. In certain forms of cardiac arrest, there appears to be a possibility of restoring by artificial means the rhythmic beat and tiding over a sudden and temporary danger. Now we know that when the mammalian heart has been inhibited through the vagus nerve, it is quite possible to excite an immediate renewal of the rhythmic action by direct stimulation of the organ. In order to do this in man, one electrode should be applied in front over the area of cardiac impulse, and the other over the region of the fourth dorsal vertebra behind, so that the induction shocks may traverse the organ. The electrodes should be of considerable extent, and they and the skin should be well moistened with salt solution. The shocks employed should be strong, sufficient to excite powerful contraction in the voluntary muscles. Such a method, it seems to me, is the only rational and effective one for stimulating by direct means the action of a heart which has been suddenly enfeebled or arrested. John Alexander McWilliam, Electrical Stimulation of the Heart in Man, 1889. 1973. Berkeley. EEG signals collected on the human scalp are sustained fluctuations of electrical potential that reflect corresponding variations in the upper layers of the brain cortex below the scalp surface. Can these observable electrical brain signals be put to work as carriers of information in man-computer communication, or for the purpose of controlling such external apparatus as prosthetic devices or spaceships? Even on the sole basis of the present states of the art of computer science and neurophysiology, one may suggest that such a feat is potentially around the corner. The long-range implications of systems of that type can only be speculated upon at present. To provide a direct link between the inductive mental processes used in solving problems and the symbol-manipulating deductive capabilities of the computer is, in a sense, the ultimate goal in man-machine communication. It would indeed elevate the computer to a genuine prosthetic extension of the brain. Jacques J. Vidal, Toward Direct Brain-Computer Communication, 1973. 2000. Washington. Science is a voyage of exploration into the unknown. We are here today to celebrate a milestone along a truly unprecedented journey, this one into ourselves. Alexander Pope wrote, "Know then thyself, presume not God to scan. The proper study of mankind is man. What more powerful form of study of mankind could there be than to read our own instruction book? I have been privileged over the last 7 years to lead an international team of more than 1,000 of some of the best and brightest scientists of our current generation, some here in this room, who have been truly dedicated to this goal. Today, we celebrate the revelation of the first draft of the human book of life. It is humbling for me and awe-inspiring to realize that we have caught the first glimpse of our own instruction book, previously only known to God. As the President has said, we still have much to do. Many tasks lie ahead if we are to learn how to speak the language of the genome fluently. Today is most certainly not the end of genomics, but perhaps it is the end of the beginning." Dr. Francis Collins, Human Genome Project announcement at the White House, June 2000. 2008, New York. When I was learning how to climb mountains as a blind person, I had a lot of encouragement from experts. But after I summited Mount Everest, these people weren't ready to accept what I had done at face value. Some said I must have cheated. One even claimed I had an unfair advantage. I climbed Mount Everest too if I couldn't see how far I had to fall. It was only recently that living with prosthetic legs was seen as a huge impediment, but he has turned this perception upside down. He's on the cusp of a paradigm shift in which disability becomes ability, disadvantage becomes advantage. Yet we mustn't lose sight of what makes an athlete great. It is too easy to credit Pistorius' success to technology. Through birth or circumstance, some are given certain gifts, but it's what one does with those gifts, the hours devoted to training, the desire to be the best, that is at the true heart of a champion. Eric Weihenmayer, Time Magazine. 2023. Westminster. 12 months ago, I was in a terrible train accident, and as a result I lost my right arm above the elbow. You've been fitted with a prosthetic arm. Those are nothing new, but what makes this one special? This one is a bionic arm, and is powered by artificial intelligence and my thoughts. Ah, I understand you got a party trick to show us. Well, the first thing I've got to show you is that I've got a movable wrist that turns all the way around. The audience oohs and ahs as her wrist makes a continuous 360-degree turn. It's got a little bit of power as well, so let me try to crush this aluminium can for you. Ah, oops. So as you can see, it does work. Professor Mike Waldridge, Royal Institution Christmas Lectures. 2032, Secaucus. In a significant backtrack, the National Basketball Association, NBA, announced today the removal of genetic therapeutics testing from its drug policy, a move celebrated by players and civil rights advocates alike. The decision comes after a tumultuous year during which dozens of NBA players faced inconclusive results and public scrutiny under the new testing protocols introduced last June that aim to maintain a level playing field in the NBA. The controversial policy was initially implemented to detect the presence of certain compounds commonly used in genetic therapeutics that could rapidly increase metabolic efficiency, stimulate muscle growth, and heal tendon injuries. The test program's reliability quickly came under fire. Critics argued it was not only invasive but also produced a high rate of inconclusive results, which led to unwarranted suspensions and legal challenges. We've listened to the feedback from our players, the Players Association, and medical experts, and your concerns have been heard loud and clear, said NBA Commissioner Adrian Silbert in a press conference earlier today. It's become clear that the current state of genetic testing technology does not, and possibly never will, meet the standards required for fairness and accuracy in our league. This reversal does not affect other aspects of the NBA drug policy, which continues to prohibit performance-enhancing drugs based on traditional testing methods. Terran News Network Sports. 2045, Budapest. In a historic move, Hungary has officially become the last of the former European Union states to join the Terran Republic, concluding weeks of intense negotiations in Atlas. The deal, sealed last Thursday, came after protracted discussions over the rights of modified individuals, a contentious issue that had previously stalled talks. Hungary's conservative leadership expressed deep concerns about genetic and body modification procedures, which are widely accepted in many other parts of the Republic. Under the terms of the final deal, citizens of the Republic will retain all current legal rights when in the newly formed District 95. However, in a concession to the former Hungarian government, the local district authorities will have the power to restrict the practice of non-life-saving body modification procedures within its borders at their discretion. This ascension agreement respects our traditions and moral values while paving the way for a brighter future for Hungarians under the Terran Republic, said János Wagner, Hungary's chief negotiator at the talks. The new Republic's promises of peace, security, and economic opportunity are not mutually exclusive with the very beliefs that make us human. The announcement was met with celebration and protests in the former nation's capital, though the fears of widespread violence appear to have been overblown. Several last-minute endorsements on Tuesday mitigated. Republic Public Affairs Network, ARPAN. 2067, Copernicus 4. Tragedy rocked the Copernicus 4 residential space station over Ganymede, as dozens have been confirmed dead in a tragic shooting involving Republic Marine peacekeepers. Republic officials report that over 30 civilians and 4 Marines lost their lives in a violent rampage lasting approximately 2 hours that resulted in the destruction of the station's life support module before security control could be restored. The incident was initially triggered by a possible malfunction in a neural implant worn by one of the Republic Marines. The Marine, whose identity has not yet been released to the public, reportedly suffered a neural overload, leading to erratic behavior that was mistakenly perceived as a hostile attack by fellow troops. Sources close to the Navy's internal investigation told GP reporters that the implant, which is optional issue for some frontline Republic units, experienced a catastrophic and unprecedented error. The breakdown likely caused severe hallucinations and impaired judgment in the soldier, leading to a tragic misinterpretation of the situation by his squad members. The cascade of errors was like nothing we've ever seen, a high-ranking official explained, under the condition of anonymity. The systems designed to protect us failed, and the result was a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. As the Republic Marine Corps pledges full transparency in the ensuing investigation, questions are mounting over the oversight of neural implant technologies and the safeguards against such malfunctions. Experts in cybernetic enhancements have long cautioned about the risks associated with integrating advanced neural devices with human physiology, and accidents involving these devices, while extremely rare, have increased in frequency as more consumers and service members have adopted them. In a gesture of mourning and solidarity, lights will be dimmed for 1 hour at all Republic facilities in and over Ganymede tonight at 1700 Atlas time, remembering those lost. Ganymede Post. S12156, Restrictions on Neural Implantation Devices Act 2068. Status: Failed to pass. By 135 to 151 to 14. S13563, Restrictions on Neural Implantation Devices Act 2069. Status: Failed to pass. 84 to 183 to 33. S17945, Sensible Regulation of Deadly Neural Implantation Devices Act 2072. Status: Failed to pass. 54 to 205 to 41. 2074. Atlas. A second whistleblower has stepped forward from the Office of Republic Defense, cooperating explosive allegations about radical body modification requirements within the Republic Navy's elite special warfare units, which critics and supporters alike have nicknamed the Superspacer programs. The whistleblower, a high-ranking official who requested anonymity, citing fears of retaliation, has provided the Atlas Times with documents that detail measures to coerce recruits to undergo procedures to qualify for these prestigious units, such as voluntary limb replacement. These aren't just enhancements or supplements, they're total transformations, the source said. Recruits are sent the message that if they want to serve in these prestigious roles, they have no choice but to undergo these procedures. The officials call it soft pressure, but it's no less real. The Navy officers who are in charge of the intake process, they're very careful. They don't say, "Oh, you must be this modified to participate." They say you must be able to lift so much weight without external mechanical assistance. And we all know, some of these are just impossible for an unmodified human being. It'll crush their limbs if they even try, right? They are in effect saying to these superspacer recruits, you must accept these mods or you can't join. The documents outline a series of augmentations that go beyond traditional therapeutic improvements, focusing on replacing healthy limbs with biomechanical prosthesis designed to increase strength, speed, and endurance far beyond human norms. Some pages allude to highly classified neural implants that increase reaction speed, sensory acuity, fatigue recovery, and pain tolerance. Other pages were redacted by the whistleblower themselves, who claimed that the blacked-out pages contain top-secret information about even more shocking superspacer modifications. In a written reply, the Republic Navy defended its recruitment and training practices, stating that all body modifications are voluntary and performed with the fully informed consent of spacers, that checks and balances have lowered the risk of implants to 0 major incidents in the last decade, and that these enhancements are often crucial for the types of missions these special units perform. Last week, the Navy's chief spokesperson declined to confirm or deny the authenticity of an alleged leaked training video of what appeared to be an orbital demolitions team operator violently grappling with a Mark III combat robot in close quarters. The Atlas Times. 2092. Titan City. My father was an ice miner. He gave up everything he knew on Earth to come here. 8-hour shifts, day in and day out, in the freezing underground caves of Titan. Grueling, dangerous, brutal. You know what he saw in this desolate rock? The same thing I now see. The future. Titan Neural Optics 2093 edition. Starting at 5,000 credits. Financing available. Pre-order online now. Titan Biotech. What I see commercial. 2105. Black Site Demos. How long am I going to be out of commission, Doc? About 6 hours. The surgical bots will work on you for 2 hours, and then will allow your body to heal itself for the rest. When it's complete, we'll wake you up and keep you here for 24 hours to monitor for side effects. You should be back on your feet by Monday, and they'll run you through the gauntlet next week. Will I be able to play the violin after? Actually, yes. This new program we've got, you just install the module, and you'll be able to sight read like a concert master. You'll see. Damn, Doc, you ruined my joke. I know. It was funny the first couple hundred times one of you told me that one, until one of the jokers convinced the software development intelligence to actually make it work. But yes, your new arms and fingers are going to be able to play the violin for you, among other things. Alrighty then, color me impressed. Let's get this out of the way. Lieutenant Commander, redacted. Do you consent to the following experimental medical procedures? Artificial bone graft, muscle fiber replacement, gene-level modifications for your neural, metabolic, limbic, and immune systems, memory storage and retrieval enhancer? Redacted. Have you read the patient documents provided to you regarding all the risks and your rights? Do you acknowledge and accept all these risks? Uh-huh. The legal intelligence didn't fully accept that. We'll need a more verbal consent confirmation, Lieutenant Commander. Yes, I've read the documents provided to me, and I fully consent to all of these procedures. Good enough. And one more thing before I knock you out. Now that you work for us, we've got you a new name and identity. So the bad guys can't find out who you were before, threaten your family, that sort of thing. Do I get to pick my new name? Nope. Welcome to the reconnaissance office. Mark? You look like a Mark. Mark, huh? That doesn't sound too bad. I guess it could be worse. How many other Marks are there in the TRO? That's highly classified, even for me. Now lie back. Breathe in from this mask and count backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8... Alright, Clanker. Open him up. Time to go to work. 2125. Grantor City. A line of tracers stabbed up into the sky, lighting up the exteriors of the Zenosian base. The screen went blank as the communication went dead. That's the best footage we can get with our light recon drones against their latest upgrades, Kara briefed. Everything else is hidden underground. Ah, putting their munitions storage base underground. Looks like they're learning. How far down does it go? Mark asked. Ground penetrating radar shows activity at least 75 meters down, possibly deeper. Kara read off the latest report. Mark furrowed his brows. That deep, huh? Yeah, could be deeper than a conventional bunker buster can reach. Look at that vent. She pointed at a covered circular piece of metal in the middle of it. Only reason they need one of those that big is if this building goes deep. Like, deep, deep. What the hell are they storing that far down? She shrugged without an answer. Mark examined the last frame of the footage again. Guess there's only one way to find out. We could send one of the local cells over first, Kara suggested. Or pound the surface to bits and see what comes up top. Just for our teddy friends at the base? Mark shook his head. Nah, we're used to perfectly good assets against the Zenosian Marine regulars. Our turn then. Kara grinned at him almost ferally. We should take Flowers this time. Flowers was the suitcase utility robot they brought to Grantor, modified for combat. State-of-the-art as it wasn't quite as good as one of them with their millions of credits worth of neural implants and body modifications. Mark pretended to think about it. Well, fine, but he could slow us down. So could you, being almost 5 years out of date on your implants, but you don't hear me complaining about bringing you along. Ouch! Touché.